And now, we talk about food. It's the Lafayette Food Junkie Show on News Talk 96.5 KPEL.
Welcome to the Lafayette Food Junkie Show on News Talk 96.5 KPEL. I'm your host, Tiffany Deku. Here we talk about all the food happenings around Acadiana. If you like food, tune in. You might learn something new. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It is Valentine's Day weekend. We are gearing into another Valentine's Day. Some of us have love-hate relationships with it. Joining me tonight as guest co-host is Mark Whitney, who has retired from the food business, but he says we keep bringing him back. Please say what you posted on Instagram because I just love it. It was very funny. We keep bringing you back in. Well, it's because you're a good guy and you know a lot about the food business. So naturally, we will want to keep bringing you back in to learn about the food business. Sure. Yeah. Okay. Any big plans for Valentine's Day? Since it's on a Tuesday, I don't think we're really doing anything either. Yeah. Woo! Big old Tuesday. I actually think that we're just I'm going to cook for my boyfriend. He loves meatloaf, and I'm going to make him a bacon-wrapped meatloaf, mashed potatoes. We're going to roast some broccoli. I'll pick up dessert because we had a little fiasco with my baking this weekend that we'll talk about a little later in the show. But we'll figure it out. We'll do what we got to do.
To me, that's way more interesting than going out to eat. Like, you get to show off a little bit. You get to actually make something special,
Right.
So, like, that's the most romantic thing. Not like, hey, let's go to Chili's and get some baby back ribs. I want to make you a meatloaf.
So KPEL is starting their new lineup of shows next week, and Brandon Como, who did the boards for our show forever, we call him Pop. He's almost like Papa Bear to the Lafayette Food Junkie Show. If he's listening, I'm sure he'll really appreciate that I just called him that. But he's going to be doing the afternoon show. It starts at 4 o'clock, and I'm going to be on the afternoon show on Tuesday for Valentine's Day to talk about last minute. Oh my God, you didn't make reservations. Where can you eat in town?
The oh crap.
Yeah. So we'll be discussing that with him. Nice. And so you guys can tune in around 4 o'clock on Tuesday. And I think I'm going to be their first guest. So I'm kind of excited about that.
Is this a food-based show?
No, it's just an afternoon. Afternoon
okay.
Talk show. And I'm going to come on to talk food.
Nice.
So excited about it. Okay. Have you made flourless chocolate brownies before?
I've made flourless chocolate cake before.
Okay. And how have your experiences with it generally gone?
Fine. I just follow the recipe. I'm not I don't like to bake. So I'm very, very narrow-minded when it comes to baking because I know that I'm going to deviate and just screw it up. I'll do that for cooking, but to me, cooking is like art and baking is like science.
It is.
So if you
have to be so exact.
If you don't follow the formula, you've lost the game already. Yeah. So yeah, very, very particular about my baking. I'm
on this gluten-free cooking kick and gluten-free, and it's because of Ben's son and also I'm trying to do the paleo thing, and it's a lot of gluten things in it. And I recently discovered coconut sugar, which a lot of the paleo stuff, the sweets have coconut sugar in it. What's your experience with coconut sugar?
I worked at a coffee shop at one point that used to use it.
Do they use it in their bulletproof coffee? Because somebody was telling me that they use it in their bulletproof coffee.
They may.
Okay.
None of the places I've worked at have done bulletproof.
Okay.
So I'm not sure.
Okay.
But I know when I worked at the lab, we had customers who would request it because they were health nuts.
Well,
so we always had a bag.
I'm actually glad to know that they have it.
I don't know if they still do.
Okay.
I mean, granted, it's been 4 years since
I worked. Coconut sugar has a lower glycemic index than regular sugar, so it doesn't make your blood sugar spike as much. And it's supposed to be a little bit sweeter, so you don't have to necessarily use as much of it. You can use the same ratio in baking. Mm-hmm. And I bought some, and I guess it was a little expensive, but it wasn't like over the top expensive for me. I bought a bag and it was $5, so I could rationalize that. And I got it because since doing Whole30 and I couldn't have any sugar on that, coffee was a huge issue for me. But from doing Whole30, I can now just have cream in my coffee. I'm doing whipping cream right now because it's still low carb. It's not necessarily paleo, but it's low carb.
Heavy fat, low carb.
Right. And I've been putting cocoa powder in it too to kind of give it a little bit of a sweetness, which is nice. But I was like, oh, I can use the coconut sugar just like a little bit. And I put it in the coffee this morning and it was good. It had like a little bit of a subtle sweetness. But I remember when Christina came on the show, before we went on the air and we were talking, and she's mentioned this too, like a lot of people have the hardest time with their coffee and with not having sweeteners in the coffee. And they were all trying to convince me to do bulletproof, which I still haven't done. What's your experience?
I don't like the texture of it.
Can you explain what it is for people that don't know?
Bulletproof kind of has a lot of different iterations to it now. Typically, the generic profile of bulletproof is it's going to be organic grass-fed butter. It's going to be coffee, obviously. And then it's coconut oil, I believe. And then you blend it like a smoothie.
Yeah.
Essentially, the idea is that the fats are then going to stick to your bones a little bit better and keep you fuller longer. The problem is that it also, because coconut oil is normally pretty
greasy,
fully in your mouth.
Feel like you got a lot of fat in there.
Yeah, it sticks to your mouth a lot and coats it
on the tongue.
I'm a really big texture guy,
so it'd be a little bothersome.
And so it's real hard for me to. They have it at Whole Foods.
Okay,
I think it's called Mammoth instead.
They have it at Tribe. They have the paleo coffee there.
It always has to have a different name.
Yeah,
so it's butter coffee in some places. It's some places just use other variations of a Mammoth to do it or something. And so, I mean, it's fine. I get it. Like, it's kind of like using whipping cream in coffee. It's the same concept.
Yeah.
It's just not my thing. And really, I don't do paleo or anything like that. I just don't.
Yeah.
I like gluten a lot.
Yeah. Gluten is your friend.
Really special.
I mean, I like it too, but we have a love-hate relationship because in small doses, it's okay, and it's almost like a euphoric effect. And then
everything in moderation.
If I have it way too much, my body does not like it, and that was the biggest thing that I learned from Whole30. Well, I bought the bag of coconut sugar. On the bag, it had a recipe for flourless chocolate brownies, and I happened to have everything in the house to make it. So I was like, oh, I'm gonna go ahead and make this. So it was so easy. It was a cup of the coconut sugar, a cup of cocoa powder, 4 eggs, a little bit of vanilla extract, some salt, and it called for a 1/4 cup of coconut oil, which I decided to use bacon grease instead. I've had hits or misses with the bacon grease. I've had chocolate cake before with it. That it tastes wonderful. I mean, people make chocolate covered bacon, and we were talking about this before the show. Like back in the day, people didn't have all these fancy oils to cook with. They used lard. So, but instead of using a 1/4 cup, I misread it and used a whole cup of bacon grease in it. Mixed it up. It tasted good to me. It had a hint of bacon flavor to it.
Which, I mean, for some people is not.
Yeah, it
really
wasn't.
Like an insult.
It's like chocolate covered bacon. Like some people like it and the salty.
Some people don't.
Now, I will say, if you're going to use bacon grease, do not use the salt that it calls for. And I kind of regretted that as well. I was like, ooh, this is going to be a little salty because I used the bacon grease. I was like, this is our first time. We're experimenting. Let's do it. Ben goes, I let him taste the batter. And his look of disgust is like imprinted in my soul. It was just, he was like, that's disgusting.
You betrayed him.
And he was like,
deep emotional level.
I was like, what don't you like about it? And he couldn't tell me. He was like, it just tastes bad. I was like, okay, well, we'll see what it tastes like when it cooks. So cooked it. And again, I'm still have not realized that I used the wrong amount of fat. Cooked it, let it cool. I thought it tasted great. You could not taste the bacon at all at that point. And it had like a heavy dark chocolate taste. He tasted it again. He said, I do not like this. And I was like, what don't you like about it? I was like, you need to tell me like what you don't like about it. And he said, it's not sweet enough. I was like, oh, okay. It's a coconut sugar. Like, you're having problems with that. Went to bed, woke up this morning and I said, I think I used the wrong amount of fat. And looked on the bag. Sure enough, did not use a 1/4 cup, used a full cup. So that could have also been the problems that he was having with it. But as we were saying, baking, you have to be super exact or it'll destroy the whole thing.
And one of my worries about coconut sugar, and it's kind of the same thing that I have with stevia and Splenda and all of that fun stuff is that because it kind of carries a higher sweetness index, is that it's that weird slippery slope of like craving sweeter things.
Yeah.
Because I know that's always been the big draw about not using artificial. It's not that like it's artificial. It's that because they're so sweet
that you then
you're like,
your body's
drugs,
like,
right?
yes, I want this sweetness.
First taste is always free because you're gonna inevitably crave
Right.
some more. So it's a weird.
That's a good point. I'm trying to be cautious with it. I was very hesitant to buy it because I had that as kind of because I was like, then I'm gonna need.
Sure.
I'm going to be back on Coffee Mate, the Girl Scout cookie
Sweet
creamer,
French
quarter of a
hazelnuts.
cup in my coffee. That's pretty much milk. I was like, I have to watch this. I have to maintain. But if anyone's interested and if you're having sugar problems and you're kind of wanting to switch, the coconut sugar is pretty
it's
good.
fine.
I mean,
it's perfectly fine.
and I think it said like on the glycemic scale, it's like a 35. And I don't remember what sugar was, but it was significantly higher.
Yeah.
And then agave nectar was super high.
Yes.
Because I know that a lot of people think, oh, agave nectar is so good for you. And it's actually not. Like it's not.
I think it's the same idea is that it's super duper sweet. And so
Yeah.
you can use a lot
Like
less.
a tiny bit of it.
The problem is that most people don't.
Yeah.
Like, my experience from working in a coffee shop is that we stopped buying agave nectar because it's very expensive.
Mm-hmm.
And people were using it so much. They were just pouring it in.
Oh, wow.
And so
It's like
she's
syrup.
You're completely
Just pour syrup.
destroying the whole purpose of using something incredibly sweet is that then you can
Right.
stave off. And she's like, no, this is sugar. We're going to use it like we use all other sugar. So it's, again, everything in moderation, everything in its own category.
There you go. All right, we're going to take our first break, and when we come back, we have more with Mark. So come back to us. It's the Lafayette Food Junkie Show on News Talk 96.5 KPEL.
She puts the wow, yum into words. It's the Lafayette Food Junkie herself on News Talk 96.5 KPEL.
Welcome back to the Lafayette Food Junkie Show on News Talk 96.5 KPEL. We're talking with Mark Whitney tonight about different various food-related topics because even though he's not in the food industry even anymore, he's still very well-versed in it.
I'm here.
Okay, so last week's show, at the end of the show, we were talking about should restaurant owners discuss their politics online. I knew it was naturally going to be a hot topic once we posted it on
Sure.
social media.
Especially these days.
And both on KPEL and the Lafayette Food Junkie page, a lot of people had a lot of things to say about it. Majority of the people were saying that, no, they shouldn't. Like, it's going to affect business. However, from a marketing perspective, which is the line of work that you're in now, you had a different perspective on that. You want to share with us?
So, I think a lot of people don't understand that buying habits within the last 5 years have changed drastically. People vote a lot more with their hearts than they do just with their wallets. And so you're always going to find people who are going to shop in places that they agree with more so than just product, which is kind of a double-edged sword. Just because a place offers a great product means that they may not have the following that they should. And people who offer less than standard products may have a fantastic following. I think it just kind of depends on what you value more as a business. Either you're the Walmart of the world and you want to appeal to
Everyone.
all people, or you're a smaller business or even a mid-sized business like a Whole Foods, like a Target, and really you're based more on your demographic, your clientele. Look at Chick-fil-A and the issues that they had 3 or 4 years ago.
Right.
They haven't gone out of business.
No.
And they're not going to. We still see a line around Johnson
They're
Street.
on to Ambassador Cafe.
Ambassador, not Johnson. Sorry. Look at Target. They came under fire recently. Nordstrom came under fire recently. You can boycott places all you want, but whenever you boycott a place, there are 50 other people who are strongly in agreement.
So it's actually better for them.
Yeah. Well, again, it depends on the business. But if you're definitely not going to hurt yourself by being honest. Now, a lot of that obviously is in execution. If you sit there and say that you are against hot button topics, but then use very terrible and inflammatory verbiage that can also cause a bigger issue than just your beliefs. So there's definitely a level of decorum that's required. But it doesn't hurt a business. And there are a lot of studies, both in marketing and in retailing, that have definitely shown that that's true. You don't suffer. In fact, you probably improve, if not break even.
Okay, good to know from the marketing world.
Yeah, just be honest. Be honest and don't be a jerk about it. Is the nicest way that I can say that word.
Is Mark's marketing advice.
Yes,
for you.
Be honest. Be transparent is what we like to say in the marketing world.
And don't be a jerk.
And don't be a jerk. Unless that's your stick. Maybe you want to appeal to the jerks of the world. Then be a jerk.
I'm excited to announce that we're in the process of uploading the past radio episodes onto iTunes. And it's a lot harder than it looks. It took me about 3 hours to figure out the coding to be able to do it. So
did you have to buy a dongle for that on your new?
Mm-mm.
Oh, okay, cool.
No, and on my end, like in my podcast feed on
Yeah.
iTunes, the episodes are showing. But if you search Lafayette Food Junkie on iTunes, it's still not showing. So I don't think I'm in the approval phase.
Process. Sure.
Right.
They have to make sure you're not loading up wehatenazis.com.
Right.
I don't.
So I'm waiting for that, but I'll announce here. And then if anyone is interested in listening to old episodes of the show, because we get that a lot. We get a lot of people that want to know where it's recorded. But hey, I mean, as of right now, you can still listen to old episodes. You can go to KPEL's website and you can search Lafayette Food Junkie on there and it'll pull up all the old episodes of the radio show that we've recorded. So you can find them there. You just have to listen from your computer on YouTube. We're in the process of getting fancy with it. I've also, oh Lord, been working on a .com, and I am not a computer programmer, graphic artist. I would like to stick to talking and writing about food and not designing a website.
Are you using a template? Are you going through like Squarespace or something?
I'm using Squarespace because I was told that
it's a little
bit
easier.
Super easy. It's not easy, Mark.
It's easier than like custom designing.
I want it to be like stupid easy. I want it to be like...
It's called hiring someone else.
Okay, well, right. And,
that's the stupid
and that was
easy.
also a whole nightmare in itself. But there's like too many decisions, and it's like I want somebody to make these decisions for me. And
we'll have a conversation about Squarespace after the show.
Okay.
Since obviously they're not sponsors of the Lafayette Food Junkie show.
No, we'll talk about them afterwards. But soon you will be seeing LafayetteFoodJunkie.com. It is in the process of that. In fact, if you go now, it's kind of cool. You type in LafayetteFoodJunkie.com and it brings you to Squarespace, but if you click user, it brings up what I designed so far.
Nice.
Which is
like a work in progress page. Nice.
It basically says coming soon, and it's kind of cool if anyone is interested in doing that out there. Last year, you judged the community hospice gumbo cook-off with me. Didn't get to do it this year. It happened yesterday. I had the best gumbo of my life. I feel like it was a smoked rabbit deer sausage.
All right.
It won second place. It should have won first. The organizer was telling me that every year seafood wins, and she was really wanting a wild gumbo or a chicken and sausage to win. Came in second place. But that seafood gumbo was a really good seafood gumbo.
There were some surprisingly tasty seafood gumbos last year.
Yeah.
So, because I'm not a fan of seafood gumbo for the most part.
I was telling the people that judged with me that you can always tell when they're trying to bribe the judges, because you'll get like a whole half of a crab and it'll be like so pretty. And our first seafood we got was like that. I said
9 crab claws in a tiny 2-ounce cup.
So the first round of this gumbo didn't have any meat in it at all. It was just the roux. And it was on the thicker side. I like a thick roux, and it was on the darker side, which you typically get with a wild game. And so just the roux juice alone was wonderful. So in the final round, it was full of meat, and I pulled out a piece, and it looked like I was like, it's either duck or teal, because it was really tiny.
Yeah.
And then Ben had judged with us too, and Ben said something about rabbit, and I was like, oh, maybe it's rabbit. And we went and talked to them afterwards, and it was actually smoked rabbit.
It's a pretty popular wild gumbo dish.
It was so good. And it was Acadiana Dodge did it.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And I think that they placed in the top 3 last year. I feel like they've done well before.
They cook it in a Dodge. On top of the engine.
They do it.
And it's,
you get
a little bit of American spirit in the gumbo.
Oh my God.
And it's great.
It was
delicious.
So good. I wanted to go. We were going to go to Pepin's afterwards and get Cuban sandwiches since we were so close because it was at Acadian Village. But I was like, I really just want to go get another bowl of this with rice. I kept saying I wanted it with rice, like the final bowl. It was so good. And I'm so sad because I'm not going to ever have it again.
No, you have a year. You'll get it next year, maybe.
They're not going to make that one, though.
You don't know?
Maybe so. If anyone from Acadiana Dodge is listening, you guys should sell gumbo. Like when you buy a Dodge,
you get a free pot of gumbo.
Here's a bowl of gumbo. Or while you're waiting, while your car is getting worked on at the service station,
eat some gumbo.
You could pass out gumbo.
That's the most Cajun waiting room.
They really need to be marketing. They need to be marketing this because
while you're getting your tires changed,
they can make.
Here's some
gumbo.
smoke rabbit gumbo.
Yes, y'all have a whole other world of things that y'all could do with the gumbo and the automotive side of it. I think that this is a win-win. All right, we're going to take another break, and when we come back, we have more with Mark. So come back to us. It's the Lafayette Food Junkie Show on News Talk 96.5 KPEL.
And now, the Lafayette Food Junkie Show, served up medium rare every Sunday night.
Welcome back to the Lafayette Food Junkie Show on News Talk 96.5 KPEL. I'm your host, Tiffany Deku, and we've been talking with Mark Whitney. New Taco Sisters location opened.
Pretty excited about that.
To me. I'm so excited. Went through the drive-thru. We were going to eat there Friday night because I wanted to check out their margaritas because they have a bar now. They were slamming.
It'll be some competition for La Fonda.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens there. And it's right across from Social, which is my favorite place.
Yeah.
But so that'll be a good...
It had a drive-thru, so
oh, that's awesome.
We hit the drive-thru up, and
does it still smell like Chinese food?
No, it doesn't.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Okay.
They came out to your car too to take the order.
All right.
On a tablet. I had the brisket salad, which is the first time I've had their salad with the jalapeno ranch dressing. What?
I normally get that in the burrito. Jalapeno ranch is like the best thing they do there.
Really?
Next to the brisket. Yeah, it's pretty good.
Ooh, the brisket was so good.
Brisket burrito, jalapeno ranch in it, extra
like
jalapenos.
Huge, and I've been eating so much bread lately. My body was like, yes, vegetables, we missed you. And they had little chopped up apples in it too. So you got like a little bit of a sweetness to it. Very nice. That was my first salad I've ever gotten from there.
I think the only salad I've had from there is the smoked fish. I think it's smoked fish.
Yeah.
It's pretty good. I like their salads. They have the apples. They're nice and sweet with still being real healthy.
I'm so obsessed with their breakfast. So I'm hoping that location eventually gets the breakfast.
Yeah.
And then also on the food truck, I guess they only do this for festivals, though. They have the dirty dip, which is just like a bean dip.
Oh, I've never had that.
You have with the Zapp's potato chips.
All right.
So I'm kind of hoping maybe they'll do more with the menu.
It's a bigger place too.
Especially now, they're adding margaritas and beer and things. But they were.
And is it sit down as well? Can you go in and okay?
Oh yeah,
nice.
It's sit down. I think you go up to order. And then
that's fine.
Go sit down.
They're kind of like bread and circus for lunch.
But
okay.
It was nice. I'm super excited. And then I found myself in Abbeville this week. Me and my dad went on an adventure. And of course, I had to consult Miss Ann Falgu, who is a friend to the show. And she works for Vermilion Parish. And I said, where should I eat
the Abbeville
lunch?
Tour guide for friends and family.
And she told me to check out this place called Mary Lane's Cafe. She said it's very popular. She said they have the best burgers. She said, but they also do plate lunches. So we went and checked it out. It's a kind of small place. It was very packed. A lot of gentlemen dining there for lunch. She had also told me that there's a lot of gentlemen that like to eat there. And they had a lot of stuffed burgers.
All right.
A la Juicy Lucy. And I got one of the stuffed burgers. My dad got the one that was stuffed with pepper jack, and mine was stuffed with Swiss cheese.
All right.
And you bit in, and it was just like all the cheese. It was just so cheesy-licious. And it had like the sweet sourdough bread. Mine came with a fried onion ring on top. We got a side of onion rings too. They were good. I've said this many times. I am a fan of the thin onion ring and not the actual
thick onion
rings. But these were good. You could tell that they were made in house. They were really good. And they had I think their plate lunch that day was like roast beef. And this lady came in and she said, I had the roast beef sandwich yesterday. I kind of wanted it again today. So I was like, man, I should have got the roast beef if it's that good. She's eating it.
When a little lady goes in 2 days in a row, you know it's good.
Right. So if you happen to be in Abbeville, check out Mary Lane's Cafe. I love. And then
lots of really awesome crawfish places.
Yes.
Too. Like some of the best.
That's where I always send people for seafood is there.
That's from Ann as well.
And we were right next to Dupuy's at one point, and you could smell it. I was like, ooh.
You mispronounced it. You have to do the Dupuy's.
Dupuy's. I can't do it as good as you, and I'm trying so hard not to bust out laughing right now. That was hilarious. Yeah. Brodus Burgers is also doing a stuffed burger.
Today was the last day.
Now. Oh, okay.
Today was the last day.
Did you have it?
I did not.
You didn't.
So, wanted it real bad.
Maybe he'll bring it back.
I hope so. It seemed like it was doing well. He was pushing it pretty hard on the social medias.
Yeah.
So, I'm hoping. I know there was like some weird questioning about if he was stepping on Manny's toes. But I don't.
There's a place in Abbeville, and he didn't originate the Juicy Lucy.
Yeah, I mean the Juicy Lucy's from
Minnesota?
Minnesota. There we go. So I mean, there's always room for more stuffed hamburgers. There used to be. Was it Brewski's?
Yes.
That also used to do stuffed hamburgers.
Okay, no, they didn't do a stuffed hamburger like that. Their stuffed hamburger was
it like meat?
What we think of as a stuffed when we say stuffed and how it's seasoning.
Yeah.
That was theirs. They did like a boudin one. Maybe it had like, because I used to go to Brewski's a lot because they would do the wild game burgers.
Oh, okay.
So you could get like antelope and all, all the crazy little stuff right there.
Yeah.
But it was not the cheese stuff.
It was not a cheese stuffed burger.
And then there was another, I think Walk-On's had a stuffed one. And again, it was the same thing where it was like the seasoning. It had a little bit of a cheese. It was almost like more like a meatloaf.
Okay.
Than it was a hamburger. Manny was the original juice, and that's still
it's still the best. It's so good.
Yeah,
it's real hard. I work now like down the road from there.
Ooh, dangerous.
It's hard to not go and get the fried chicken and the Juicy Lucy because I have dreams about those foods.
I feel like we mention Brent and Circus every single week.
Well, they do a good job. Delicious pizza, delicious burgers.
Yeah. Good things happening over there. I want fried chicken from there. In fact, I think my birthday, we're doing for your birthday at work, they buy you lunch through Waiter.
Nice. Okay.
And I think that it's on a Wednesday this year, and I think that it's going to have to be fried chicken.
They and Social probably have my favorite fried chicken in town.
Really?
So
I haven't had their fried chicken in
Social
a while,
with the hot
too.
honey. It's like spicy honey, and then
and
do a big old sweet
smoked
potato biscuit in the middle. It's real good.
Ooh.
So
let's not get started on fried chicken. We'll spend the last 16 minutes.
We'll anger a lot of people.
So anyone who follows you on Instagram knows that you like to cook a lot at home.
Yeah.
You were a single guy. You're not a single guy anymore. Do you feel like it impresses the ladies that you cook? I'm always impressed by a guy that cooks. So.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's because it's oddly enough, it's not the norm in most places.
Right.
I find that it impresses people more outside of Louisiana than it does in Louisiana because everybody here cooks gumbo and all of that stuff. I think the fact that I don't actually like to cook Cajun food all that much is a difference. I grew up eating it and it's delicious and I love it, but it makes me want to cook new things.
Right.
And so I think that's
on the
more
healthier side.
Yeah, I mean, I used to be really big, and so I learned that was one of the better ways to do it was to learn how to cook healthy because I was in college at the time, and you can't really afford anything other than fast food.
Right.
And so it's really important to kind of take it upon yourself to get some healthier stuff inside of you. So I try. I mean, it's never. I don't cook a lot of kale or coconut oil. But, you can use better ingredients in a terrible way, and it's still technically healthier.
We were talking about how much money we're saving cooking at home because you said you're doing a lot of cooking
I mean, you bring your lunch to work.
I noticed that I've been cooking a lot at home and the amount of money that we've been saving from doing that.
And you can, I mean, obviously that's a fine line. You can easily go to Whole Foods every day and buy groceries and spend your wallet faster than you should.
I go once a week and I monitor myself. And if it's a higher price item, I have to like really think about it.
I spend $50 a week on groceries, and that's breakfast, lunch, and dinner, Sunday through Sunday.
That's about average.
So I think that's pretty normal
for a single.
And that's good. That's good meals. It's not like I'm making a ham sandwich for lunch. It's
ramen,
chicken and salmon, and some decent foods. So, and it's all in how you make them. You can get lesser ingredients and still have some fun with them and make some tasty dishes. So,
have you ever done a CSA?
I have not.
Okay,
I haven't. So that's through the farms, right?
Right.
Okay.
You actually buy at the beginning of the year. It's a share of what they're going to put out, and then you get a box. Traditionally, that's how it works, and you don't. I did it with Inglewood, and they'll send you what you're getting each week, and I have talked about my struggles with it on the show. That it was good. I saved a lot of money. I cooked a lot at home, but it was a lot, and it was a little overwhelming at some points. So I kind of took a season off. And this season, I'm going with Prudhoe City Farms, which is located in Eunice, I believe that they're located. And they're at the farmer's market on Saturdays. Theirs is a little different, and I liked theirs. So you can do a full share, which is about $300, or you can
for the year.
No, it's for the season.
Okay,
so it's from probably March to the summer. Like it'll be about that. It's about 4 months, and or you can do a half share for $150. And typically how it works is you have to pay it up front, and then you get a box every week and you don't know what you're going to get. Well, the way that theirs works, it's like a debit card, and that you pick out what you want at the market, and it takes against the credit that you bought.
Oh, okay.
Which I liked that. So I went ahead and did a half share since the full share was a little too much for me. So we'll see how this one works out. And they also... Prudhoe does monthly payment ones that you can also do. So if you can't pay the full $150 at one time, I think the way I did it, I paid $50 up front, and then I'm going to pay $25 a month.
Okay,
is how I'm doing it. So it's a lot more cost effective.
And so you just go to the market every Saturday and pick up.
Which I had to go to the market every Saturday anyway to go pick up, my share of the CSA last time.
Gotcha.
Too. So it's going to work. You're going to have to.
It's the same way, no matter what. They don't. No one
regardless.
has a little truck that they
but
pop
maybe
it around.
One day a waiter can get crafty with that and start grocery delivering. And,
CSAter.
Yeah, I think that they're wanting there's talks.
I mean, that'd be an interesting. I mean, I guess my only big thing would be worrying about spoilage, since it's just me.
Okay, this is the thing that you have to do, and that I learned very quickly. And Tyler Thickman told me this: you have to cut up and freeze.
Freeze, sure.
And that was the biggest.
Or pickle, I guess.
And that's why I did my kimchi, and that turned out great. Not great, great, but not great. I actually want to make some more, but. I'm going to do it a little better this time. But yeah, you have to chop and freeze.
Okay.
And then when your freezer is about to bulge, then you have to be like, we're only eating out of what is in this freezer. And I liked it.
You have a block party, make a big stew.
I liked it because it challenged me to think of cooking the ingredients in different ways. Like I made a dandelion pesto. Like I would have never made a pesto like that. I wouldn't have gone out and been like, I'm going to make a dandelion pesto, but it was in my CSA. So, I had to do something with it. I will say I had more food waste than I would have liked. So yes, I did chop and save a lot. But there was a lot of that got thrown away because we just didn't. And when it got to that point was when I started trying to give it to friends too, to kind of, it was just a full CSA was a lot for two people. Half share is a lot more. And I found out after the fact that they do offer half share. So I will do another one with Inglewood too. I kind of want to try the different farms, to kind of spread the love. And
everyone will offer something different.
Right.
So it gives you a little bit more variety on top of your variety.
Exactly.
So.
All right, we're going to take another break, and when we come back, we have more with Mark. So come back to us. It's the Lafayette Food Junkie Show on News Talk 96.5 KPEL. Welcome back to the Lafayette Food Junkie Show on News Talk 96.5 KPEL. I'm your host, Tiffany Deku, and we've been talking with Mark Whitney tonight. You are in Fightonville area, so you're next to the Victory Garden, and they're kind of doing a cool thing that started a few weeks ago. They've partnered with Whole Foods, and you've been taking advantage of that.
Yeah, so I did it for the first week. They're going through a thing called Townfolk, which is a nonprofit organization. Whole Foods is doing, I think it's called Whole Cities, if I remember correctly.
Okay.
And so it's a year-long grant that they give to, I guess, either a local nonprofit or to a local Whole Foods. I'm not sure how that works. And essentially they offer good, healthy fruits and veg to neighborhoods. And so Fightonville got chosen. So every Saturday morning you can go out, and they have a little bag from Whole Foods, and it's full of whatever random vegetables they can give for that week.
And the garden itself, because Marcus Descant has been on the show numerous times, anyone can go and
it's
pick
beautiful.
from the garden.
It's a good, hangout community garden.
Yeah.
It's really pretty. They have tables and stuff.
I need to go. I haven't been since they were building it.
I do picnics there on Saturdays every now and then, just to go eat lunch there, because it's pretty. It's nice. The weather's good. It's a good, outdoor. So it's nice.
That's really cool that they're doing that. You said that they were almost doing door to door.
Yeah, so this was the first week. I don't know if they did that this weekend as well. They didn't have enough people coming out to get bags. And so some of the neighborhood volunteers that were helping out were taking bags and walking up to houses and either dropping them off if no one was there, or knocking and introducing what it was.
I think that's really cool too.
Yeah.
To make sure everyone in the neighborhood gets access to fresh.
And I think
veggies.
it's for a lot of people who can't drive themselves is the real big focus, but it's open to the whole neighborhood. So they have a lot. Don't ever feel like you're overburdening them by going grab a bag, even though you can drive to a grocery store. But it's definitely
a perk to living in the neighborhood.
Yeah, and it's one of those things where, kind of like a CSA, I imagine, it could lead to some food waste. So, if you think that you're not going to utilize, then maybe skip a week or don't. I mean, you're not paying for it. It's free. So let somebody who is definitely more needing be able to take advantage before you, maybe,
That's the other thing with the Prudhoe City CSA. You just reminded me of that. Typically, you have to go every week with a CSA to pick up. This one, if you don't want to go a week, you don't have to go.
I guess because it's credit too,
right?
So you just use it as you can.
But you have to use it by the end of the season because it does not transfer over. So you have to make sure that you use it.
Okay.
But that was the other thing that you just reminded me.
So there's no rollover, no rollover minutes,
no rollover CSA minutes for that. Move over fried chicken taco. KFC has made a Cheesa. I'm going to assume that's how you say it. Or
Cheesa.
I feel like I'm a rapper all of a sudden. It's a chicken pizza that they have. It's a chicken, fried chicken is the crust of the pizza, and then it has the toppings on it. And they've debuted this in the Philippines.
The dirty stepchild of the double down.
It's kind of scary looking. It has what I think is pineapples on it, and I don't know how I feel about that.
I mean, I do like a good pineapple pizza. I know that's a pretty, but
with chicken,
no, that's the weird part. That's the weird part.
Maybe grilled chicken with pineapples. Yeah, I could
grilled
get
chicken,
behind
pineapples, some jalapenos.
But
perfect.
So it's a fried chicken crust. It has nuclear nacho cheese, which is usually good or it could be bad.
Yep.
You have to have an appreciation for the nacho cheese.
Oh, I do when I'm drunk.
The gas station nacho cheese.
When I'm drunk, it's the perfect cheese.
I have an appreciation for it. I mean, I don't like it all the time, but we had a show about this where we talked about cheese fries. We actually prefer the nacho kind of creamed cheese as opposed to shredded cheese on the cheese fry. Unless
it's not the
cheese.
same texture.
Right.
It's just not.
So that's on it. It had what looked like pineapples, and I'm assuming some kind of pepperoni.
See, and that combination is also weird, where it's the nuclear cheese sauce and pineapples.
So that's what I'm a little concerned about.
One of these things is not like the other.
It may come to the States. Would you try it?
Oh, I definitely try it.
Yeah.
I mean, thankfully, we don't have a KFC here.
Oh, that's true.
So I won't be as tempted to drive down to my local KFC that does not exist.
Right.
I had the chicken taco. and
Yeah.
I was a little weirded out by it.
You actually said you wanted meat in it, and you requested
Yeah,
meat
I
in
requested
it.
ground beef in it, and it made it weirder, oddly
Okay,
enough.
So it wasn't...
Yeah, it wasn't worth it. Maybe if it had chicken inside of the chicken
so I was
taco.
about to say, what if you did grilled chicken?
Chickenception.
In the chicken
And
taco.
I see. My problem is that it's just a slippery slope. At some point, it's going to be a Doritos Locos chicken taco, and I feel like I can't support that.
The Doritos Locos taco is awesome.
It's awesome, but I don't want it on chicken.
True. I agree. Beef works well with that.
Yeah.
I haven't tried the cool... Did you try the Cool Ranch
I
one?
like it more than I like... And
Really?
at one point, they had a spicy one,
Ooh.
and I like that one a lot.
We were also talking about, I don't know if they still have them, like the chicken roll-ups.
Yeah.
The fried chicken roll-ups. And
Were
it had,
they
like, the dipping-
taquitos?
Yeah, taquitos. And
Okay.
they had like a dipping sauce. Those were so good.
Really good.
And I like the fried chicken, but I don't think it's something that, like, it's not going to replace my love of the Nachos Bel Grande. So it's not going to happen. But you said you would order it again, and it would
I'd
be
order
what
it
you
again.
would order.
Yeah.
They have these fancy Taco Bells that are coming out called Speakeasy Taco Bells.
Are those the ones that have alcohol?
And it looks like a lounge, and it yeah, I don't know how I feel about that. I can't wrap my head around
Even the
that.
most expensive alcohol will still be well alcohol. It's
right.
great.
And I love that they called it a speakeasy because
Yep.
it's so in and
You'll need a password, and that password is your wallet.
yeah. The password is taquito.
Taquito.
Yeah.
Sweet taquito.
Yeah. Have you tried the new Big Macs?
I have not.
Okay.
I've seen billboards because I'm an ad nerd, but I have not punished myself by going to a McDonald's to eat a grande Big Mac.
So they have now small, medium, and large Big
Yes.
Macs. I am not a fan of the Big Mac anyway. I
What
do
makes
not
it
like
a
the
large
Nas.
Big Mac, though?
I think it has like 3 pieces. It has
Oh.
like 3 patties on it. So the regular one is like a regular one, and then it was like a baby Big Mac that just has like the nasty sauce, which I don't like. It's Thousand Island.
Thousand Island dressing.
Thousand Island. It's disgusting. It does not deserve to be on a burger.
I like it on French fries.
No.
Animal style French fries are God's gift to
I don't
fat kids.
I don't like Thousand Island dressing. I don't. It's a texture thing because it's got like the pickle. Yeah. Nope. Can't do it. Cannot do it. I don't even like it on a Reuben. Yeah.
But then you don't like Reubens.
Well, I'll get a Reuben without the Thousand Island, and it's just like the
that's
beef.
just a corned
and
beef
the
sandwich.
Corned beef sandwich. Hey, that's fine. Give me a Russian sandwich, but it's really a corned beef. Do you understand that? I mean, no Thousand Island.
We're good. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'll eat the sauerkraut, but no Thousand Island. No, thank you. Not a fan. My dad loves that. He puts that on his, like, he'll eat his regular salads with Thousand Island.
No, it's French fries. I'll eat a good Reuben. It's a lot on the bread too for the Reuben, though. Is that like?
Yeah.
I've had some really bad Reubens where it's not very good marble rye, and then it just ruins everything. So
Yeah, no. Mm-mm. You know what I've had recently on fries, and it's big in England? The malt vinegar. I love malt vinegar on my fries.
is that
now.
normally what they put for fish and chips?
Yes.
See, that's what I don't.
Don't do the
Not a
fish and
fan.
chips.
I don't like the. I don't like the taste.
We went to a British pub in Baton Rouge recently, and we had gotten, I think Ben got fish and chips, or we got fries.
Yeah.
The chips, and they had the malt vinegar on the table, and I doused it. I loved it. It was so good. And one of the guys in the group had recently come back from England, and he was like, "I'm obsessed with this now too." So I'm a big fan of the malt vinegar.
Nice.
On instead of ketchup now.
Some malt vinegar.
Dousing it in the malt vinegar. We have about 55 seconds left, so let's talk whiskey. Have you tried any new whiskeys lately that you're kind of digging?
Man, have I? I can't say that I have, to be honest with you. I recently went to Texas, and so I made my pilgrimage to Specs.
Okay.
Which, if you haven't been to a Specs in Texas, it's essentially a liquor warehouse.
I have not.
They're all over. They're in Houston. They're in most of the major cities. I don't know if they're in the smaller ones. But if you're ever in Texas and you need like some good beer, some good whiskey, they've always got a real good selection, good prices. So I go anytime I'm in Texas, I go stop by. So I got a bunch of really cool beers.
Cool.
But I haven't been on a whiskey kick lately.
Okay.
It's been kind of taking it easy.
Kind of
Drink a beer every now and then.
low.
Yeah.
Mark, it is always a pleasure to have you on the show. Thanks so much for joining us
Thanks for
tonight.
having me.
That's our show. Thank you so much for tuning in. Join us next week, Sunday at 6 p.m. This is Tiffany Daku on News Talk 96.5 KPEL, and this is the Lafayette Food Junkie Show. Thanks for listening, and as always, happy eating, Acadiana.